Thanks so much for to all you here at Kettering to have me back again to Find This Way. And I'm really excited to just share a little bit of what I've learned along the way, and also hopefully give you a little bit of insight to what Kettering built into me that I was able to go out and do, let's say, in my professional life. So yeah, obviously started in here at Kettering, met some great folks, started to just create a little bit of a family amongst other students, and over my time started to blend my mechanical engineering, my focus in vehicle dynamics and racing as I went. I was able to work in IT for a short time, all the way to project management, to R&D, to our installation teams that actually go out to the manufacturing plants. It was an amazing experience to learn all the roles, and it really gave me just a lot of energy, kind of fueled and showed me, hey, you know what, I'm going to find my way, I'm going to find my purpose. And having those discussions with Professor Lundstrom and Dr. Brock in the chassis and the dynamics area, they were able to help me blend what I was doing up at Auto City in the racing scene, and also here at Kettering, to create a pathway for me to be a student employee here and finish my thesis and help launch me to my actual career. And what I found in my first job at Bosch was exactly what I think fit me and fit what I really wanted to have family-wise as well. I started out in vehicle application. I have a short video just to kind of give you an idea what that means. But it's essentially where our entire product, our teams of people all comes together to provide safety, stability, and performance on the road. Bosch had provided a pathway that I could get into many different project management, people management roles, and over the years I really had a chance to kind of experience our entire value chain of just different areas of the product, as well as connect with teams globally. And all of that culminated a few years ago, and they tapped me to take responsibility for my current role that I had already explained. So it's really been a great journey. I'm coming up on 20 years next Friday, and just to kind of give you a picture of what we do, how exciting that can be, our director of marketing put together a little 90-second video of our trip that we had up there to Winter Test, which in North America is in Baudette, Minnesota. So let's have a look and see what the Bosch product looks like on the road. Does that look like fun? It is a lot of fun. A lot of times when we do winter testing, it means usually about 3 months out of the year, folks are on the road saving lives. And as you could see in some of those other areas, we're adding also performance and excitement for our customers. So I'd like to switch gears and think about those folks and teams. One quote that often comes back to me that I heard from a colleague early on in my career was this from Henry Ford, talking about, take the factories, burn up the buildings, basically take everything. Just leave me my people and we'll build it back, and we'll actually build it back better. The people are the driving force. It's not the material, it's the people. And a question I have for you, maybe you can think about it, because in a room this size, I'm sure there's a lot of different experiences and different answers and such, and we're all at a different part in our life journey. But think to yourself, how can we give ourselves and our team the best opportunity to succeed? And as we dive into and unpack that, I also want to just pause and remind ourselves that we're all wonderfully and uniquely made. And we really need to ensure that we fit together for success. That's why I love this picture of this people puzzle. And when I read that statement again, I think about each and every one of us as a puzzle piece, one that is not like the other, but we all, fit together for a bigger, greater purpose. I'd like to dive into 6 cultural principles. Think about culture that you want to have in your team when building or working in teams. So the first one I want to dive into today is ownership and empowerment. At this point in my automotive career, we were really distributing a number of layers of our software. We would have a software factory in India where they would take care of one part, we would take care of another part, we would hope to bring it all together virtually. And of course, this doesn't always work. You really need to sometimes be together. And before Vineet, there were a number of folks that were working to get to the US to help us in some of our endeavors. And unfortunately, let's say the visa processes didn't work out for them. And their management there said, we'll try this guy. We said, hey, this is what we need to get done. This is your area of expertise. But because we work in a different way here, we also need you to take on some coordination and really drive this with the engineers that can put it on the road, work together, and let's really impress our customers. And I can say that, we didn't just, recklessly assign this. We continued to follow up with him, but we also gave him the space and the encouragement, go and run it. And even at the time, I didn't understand what myself or what we were doing as a team, but I really appreciate that team member to come back and ask that question so that we could reflect and realize, hey, yeah, we have to empower each other. We have to allow people to take ownership and really drive things to success. And I'm always grateful for Vineet, but also those folks that feel so safe to speak openly within a team and help us learn these lessons. And this gentleman, he took a lot of those lessons on his own. He actually left our company in India, and him and his family found their way legally to the United States, worked at some other companies, and now he's right back where he had a lot of success with my previous department, and it's great to see him and his family and the story that they are creating. The next one, I want to talk about trust. And for that, I want to take just a brief stint outside of Bosch and talk about a time where myself and some other gentlemen, we got together. We had been developing kind of hiking hobby after some really remarkable events in earlier years. And a group of 7 of us went to go to the Presidential Traverse out east. And if you're not familiar with this, it's about 20 miles. It's about 7 different peaks. But the main thing for this area, it's about the most hostile weather environment when it comes to wind in the entire world. I think they have the number 1 highest wind speed recorded there. And I'd love to tell you that the trip was amazing, a success, have a different picture for you, but the reality is, as we got into it, we quickly realized what we were up against, the changing of the weather. We even had one gentleman, his hiking boot came apart. And I mean, we are on the top of one of these mountains, and you can only imagine some of the triage that had to happen there. So you have to value that person that's with you, I believe, more than the mission, because you have to come back. If you fail once, hey, you're going to come back and try to complete that mission. And I'm thankful for that time on the mountain where we could get deeper and really come into a great relationship. And this applies not just in these situations you might put yourself into, but in the teams that you have, the teams that are successful. right now in college. It's where is that trust at? So coming back to the folks at Bosch, and really starting to unpack this one, passion. All right, this one, this for me is this has to be your fuel. This is your fuel. What are you passionate about? And of course, we have a lot of them. But some of these areas, if you think about like what fuels you when you get into certain areas, you could think about, being curious about something, breaking patterns, just really striving for innovation. Because your passion, you have to energize yourself. It's great to hear motivational things, but I'm not a believer that somebody motivates you. Somebody may say something that activates something inside of you, and you have to grab hold of that. You have to find out what that is for you and take that energy, energize yourself so that you can pass that along to your customers, you can pass it along to your teammates, or whoever it is that's in front of you or that you're working for. In this area, I want to talk about one team spirit. Really for me, what does this mean? It means one heartbeat. This for me is non-negotiable. While I can be serious at times, I can easily, quickly, in a meeting, say something silly to lighten the mood or whatever it might be, or celebrate someone, even though we're still in the thick of a difficult situation. But I try to make sure everyone knows this is non-negotiable. And honestly, I also don't always do a great job of celebrating quick wins. You really have to be conscious in your teams while you are on mission, while you are doing and accomplishing things. Pause. Pause in those moments where it's appropriate. Set aside time to celebrate as a team. And finally, we come to transparency. And I hope you don't. I hope you see the joke here, where I used a picture that wasn't so transparent, just to kind of highlight it. But I recently had a talk with somebody, and they gave me something that probably will never leave me as I think about transparency. He said, use your blinker. I was using my blinker with my immediate team. When we took over this new responsibility, we had to set a new course. Our business was changing. And you can run, if you think about not using your blinker, you can be on mission, you can be doing your job, you can be running around, accomplishing. But if your teammates don't know what you're doing and why, it doesn't work. So you have to find those opportunities to communicate, your expectations proactively. Tell people, what you're doing and why. Create those frameworks, and also walk the talk. A part of this as well comes to me as consistency. It will be exhausting for you if you happen to try to be someone different everywhere. Just be transparent with who you are. Continue to stay in contact with your teams, and always be seeking feedback, in those appropriate times. And I just would say in closing, number one, thank you. Thank you for having me back. Thank you for this opportunity just to deposit a little bit of, let's say, maybe wisdom. I mean, I'm still learning. I know we all are. And looking at all of you here today, I know that you are all going to find your mountaintop. Whether it's in your career, whether it's on a hike, you're going to find your mountaintop. And I will tell you, it is lonely at the top. So take someone with you. If someone is on their way, ask them if you can go along, if you can learn from them. And that's what we had the opportunity to do. But again, folks, thank you again. Really care for, respect one another, go together. Thank you for your time today.